These are times where UFC fighters perfectly predicted their fights. We've all heard UFC fighters make bold claims before a fight, but only a select few have been able to foresee the outcome with such specific detail that you'd swear they've seen the future.
You can call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Conor McGregor is one such fighter whose foreshadowing was among the best in the sport during his early days. Back then, he wasn't just defeating opponents physically, he was dismantling them mentally, and Dustin Poirier had first-hand experience of it in 2014. Heading into their first clash at UFC 178, the trash-talking genius first rattled Poirier with sharp verbal jabs, calling him a hillbilly and whatnot.
Don't get me wrong, I like the kid. He's a quiet little hillbilly from the back ass of nowhere.
McGregor then shed some light on Poirier's biggest weakness.
His weakness is obviously his chin. His chin is going to be cracked, and it's going to be cracked early.
Once he was done with his expert's breakdown, he gave a short and sweet prediction.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm number one, and when Dustin's head clatters off that canvas, they'll realize pretty soon. This is a first round KO for me. I have no doubt in my mind. His toes will curl, and I will celebrate.
McGregor put his money where his mouth was when he entered the cage, tagging Poirier with jabs and crisp left hands before dropping him with a big left hook and knocking him out with additional shots in the first round. It was another bitter pill to swallow for McGregor's critics, but that is what he truly loves.
When you say you're going to do something and then you go and do it, it is probably my favorite thing to do. To say I'm going to go and do something and then do it.
Mystic Mac continued to destroy his next few opponents en route to a featherweight title shot against the King of Rio, Jose Aldo, who like Poirier was badly rattled from all the trash talking.
There is a reason why the belt is on that side of the table. There's only one reason that belt is on that side of the table, is because he hasn't faced me yet.
But you said you smell fear in him.
Yes, it is a beautiful aroma that arouses me.
I'm
I'm your father, I'm your daddy, eh? Call me Jose Senior.
As far as his predictions were concerned, McGregor only saw the fight playing out one way, a first round knockout.
It's a technical question actually. How you plan to neutralize the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? By KOing him stiff.
I feel within 4 minutes the shots will have landed.
Aldo had visible hatred towards McGregor, and it was in this triggered state that he'd revealed subtle signals that McGregor quickly picked up on.
When we stared down, I felt his right hand was twitching a little bit, but it was a subtle tell for me. He is ready to unload that right hand, but I feel that could be a downfall for him if he lets that right hand go. I will not be there.
As soon as the two stepped into the cage, Aldo, usually a methodical fighter, was quick to recklessly load up his right hand, and the moment Aldo lunged in for the kill, McGregor calmly stepped back and countered with a perfectly timed left hand, knocking the Brazilian out cold in just
13 seconds. That's my fastest UFC knockout.
McGregor's mystique reached new heights when his team released a video showing him practicing the exact knockout sequence against Aldo backstage. When McGregor was asked about the viral backstage video, he explained that it's all in the mind.
If you can see it here, and you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen. So I see these shots, I see these sequences, and I don't shy away from them.
Maybe there's something in the Irish waters, because rising Irish welterweight Ian Gary seems to be able to predict fights in the same way as McGregor. The undefeated 15-0 fighter had his Mystic Ian moment in 2023, 3 months before his fight against Daniel Rodriguez, when he predicted that he'd knock his opponent out with a right high kick.
I can tell you how I'm going to knock him out.
Do it. I want to hear it.
Right high kick.
Even in his pre-fight media talks, Gary was clear about his intentions, predicting a knockout all week, although he aimed for a finish in the later rounds to prove a point.
In all honesty, a late second, late third round finish, because if it's a quick knockout, to your point, if it's a quick knockout, then you have, oh, well, I just got caught. Where if I'm beating you for 14 minutes and I knock you out in the 14th minute, it's like, what did you do for the other 14 minutes when I whooped your ass? It's like, I gave you a chance. So that, to your point, that I don't believe that any lasts longer than 8-9 minutes.
At UFC Charlotte, Daniel Rodriguez couldn't even last 8 minutes as just halfway through the second round, he was dropped with a right high kick and finished with ground and pound just as Gary predicted. After the fight, Gary was praised for his spot-on prediction of the outcome, and he attributed it to his high fight IQ and sharp intelligence.
You didn't just beat him with a head kick, you predicted it before time.
No, I look, I class myself as ridiculously intelligent in this game, and I don't mean that to like big myself up. It's more just I have the eyes and I have the awareness and I have the understanding of skill sets and times and people's ability. I can read people's minds very well.
Now this next legendary fighter believes that what the Irish can do, the Russians can do better because
Irish only 6 million, Russian 150 million.
Throughout his legendary career, former UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov has predicted most of his fights to perfection, but his title defense against Conor McGregor at UFC 229 truly stands out. Khabib had made his mystic prediction well before the fight was booked, as the Russian warned to beat the Irishman up for a considerable amount of time before choking him out.
You fought Conor, how would it end? Do you have a prediction?
Just smash him. Not first round. We have to make him like, I'm gonna teach him like, we have to make him humble. How many times he tapped? How many times? He's tap machine.
Things only got worse when the two were actually booked to fight, as the Irishman's crude barbs rubbed the champ the wrong way.
My heart is black towards this man, towards his team, towards his people. I could truly see the inside of that man's head and smile. I don't give a about him or his people. Like I said, there is way deeper than just a fight on Saturday night. So it is what it is. I'm here. I'm gonna settle this the noble way for myself and then see what happens after that. His manager is a fucking snitch, terrorist rat, and that's it.
Khabib stayed quiet during the press conferences, confident in what he was going to do to McGregor inside the cage, and he knew it was going to get ugly.
I think I'm gonna make him tired and after play with him, because when he tired he always give up. He don't like, he's like when you go to the he moved to box and he tap there.
Khabib promised time and again that he was going to smash McGregor all the way up until the final moments of the UFC 229 build-up.
Alhamdulillah, I know you got this, they don't like this. Alhamdulillah, tomorrow night I'm gonna smash your boy, guys. I'm gonna smash your boy.
On fight night, Khabib did exactly what he said he'd do. He neutralized McGregor with his wrestling in the first round, absolutely smashed his face in the second round with vicious ground and pound, went toe-to-toe with him on the feet in the third, and then finished him with a rear naked choke in the fourth round. It was a thoroughly dominant display, one that Khabib had meticulously planned for years.
I told you guys, these guys, not only him, his whole team and him, they tap machines. You know, I told you guys, when you put him wrong way, he gonna tap. You know, what happened today? Like, they call him two-time world champion, like 2 weight classes, but today he tap. And that's why, alhamdulillah, belt is here, undisputed, undefeated UFC lightweight champion.
Khabib followed up on the Conor finish and was able to perfectly predict his next 2 fights as well. For instance, he promised to make Dustin Poirier tired and then tap him out in his second title defense at UFC 242.
I think it's gonna be tough night for him. This is my opinion, because you have to be ready. I'm gonna wrestle with him all night, make him tired and make him tap. This is my plan.
On fight night, he did exactly that, out-wrestling the Diamond for 2 rounds before submitting him in the third. Khabib made the same prediction heading into his third and final title defense against Justin Gaethje at UFC 254.
I'm gonna keep forward, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna give him hard time, you know. I'm going to make him tired, I'm gonna take his soul. This is what I want. You know, I really want to make tired his body and choke him out. This is my plan.
And once again, he did what he said he'd do. He put an insane amount of pressure on Gaethje in the first round and left him gasping for air within 5 minutes. In the second, he put the highlight to sleep. Khabib is undeniably a genius in MMA, but he also benefits from a world-class team led by Javier Mendez and his pack of world-class coaches who excel at identifying the weaknesses in an opponent's game. A prime example of this is Daniel Cormier's first victory against Stipe Miocic at UFC 226. Before the fight, the then light heavyweight champ confidently stated that the only way his heavyweight counterpart could beat him was by somehow knocking him out, as he believed he was the superior fighter in every other aspect.
The only way he can win is to knock me out. There's no other way he beats me. If he didn't finish Ngannou on the ground, he is not finishing me on the ground. And if we fight for 25 minutes, there is no way he gets his hand raised.
A day before the fight, Cormier took things to a whole new level, boldly claiming that Miocic struggles in the clinch and that he would capitalize on that weakness.
There are some things that he does, especially when you get out of clinch positions where his hands are pretty low and that chin is way up in the air. He's got a big old face, and I'm going to try to crack him upside his head.
Cormier put his money where his mouth is on fight night, where after 4 minutes of battle, he clinched Miocic and then melted him with a vicious right hook, before adding 2 more shots on the ground to become the heavyweight champion of the UFC as well. And Michael Bisping, another UFC legend turned commentator, predicted one of the biggest upsets in UFC history just 2 years earlier, despite being a massive underdog going into the fight. At UFC 199, Luke Rockhold was all set to rematch Chris Weidman for the middleweight title, but when Weidman pulled out due to injury, the UFC offered Bisping a shot at the belt with just 2 weeks to prepare. Having already defeated Bisping a few years earlier with relative ease, Rockhold expected the rematch to be another easy fight.
You're just an average bloke. You're just an average bloke.
Good use of English.
I'm a fucking samurai. I'm gonna come in there silent, undetected, and I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna make my kill, and I'm gonna fucking be out.
You're making a fool
I'll be out
of
on the
yourself.
next contract. Watch me.
All right, buddy.
Bisping, however, had a trump card up his sleeve this time, and he was confident he could use it to knock Rockhold out cold early in the fight.
Don't be so cocksure, buddy.
The greatest of all time. The greatest of all time. I'll show you who the greatest is now.
Look off your face, pal. Believe you me. Believe you me. Look at you. You're not gonna look so smug on Sunday, pal.
Rockhold definitely didn't look smug on fight night, as the Brits was better prepared this time and stunned the overconfident champ halfway through round 1 with a massive left hook. Just seconds later, Bisping was crowned the new middleweight champion of the world. The Count immediately credited his coach Jason Perillo for identifying a major flaw in Rockhold's game that he was easily able to exploit.
First round knockout, left hook. Jason Perillo, thank you.
According to Perillo, Rockhold had a habit of dropping his guard while attacking, leaving him highly vulnerable to left hooks.
I watched Luke Rockhold. He brings his right hand down underneath his chest every time he does anything. If he throws a straight left hand, if he throws a high kick, if he whatever he throws, that left side, throwing a left hook is so exposed to him all day long. I knew with Mike's speed he would get to that beard.
Rockhold was so impressed with Perillo that he quit the American Kickboxing Academy and joined hands with him a couple of years later, but to no avail. These were times when UFC fighters perfectly predicted their fights. Who got it best? If you enjoyed the video, check out times where cocky UFC fighters got destroyed and humbled by their opponents.